Welcome to the Branded Impact Podcast. On this show, we go beyond surface level branding, honest conversations with industry leaders, behind the scenes of aligned brand building, and actionable insights to help you elevate your presence. I'm your host, Espejo, aka Joe. Hit subscribe and join me each week for the Branded Impact Podcast. Welcome back to the Branded Impact Podcast, where we explore what it really takes to build a brand that attracts, connects, and converts. I am your host, Espejo, aka Joe. And today I'm joined by someone who truly embodies expert authority in her space, Debbie Allen, the world's #1 authority on expert positioning. She's not just building a business, she's leading a movement with her deep expertise, intentional presence, and the kind of clarity most entrepreneurs are still chasing. In today's conversation, we'll dive into how she's built a brand rooted in purpose and how she continues to show up with impact, integrity, and authority. So if you've ever wondered what it looks like to be fully aligned with your brand and boldly own your space, this episode is for you. So let's jump in. Debbie, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you start with your story? How did you get into this expertise space? I can't wait to know more.
Right. And I love branding too, because it's all about positioning. Joe, thanks so much for having me on the show. I love talking about that. And it's really the key thing. People think of branding. It's like, what is that? Just a logo? Is it a whatever? There's so much to it. It's all about how you position yourself in everything. And if you have a goal, it's like how you're positioning yourself to achieve that goal. So I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I've never even applied for a job. I have to spell it because it's terrifying. And that makes me work harder in my own business. But 19 years old, I bought into my first business. And so built and sold many $1 million companies since then. One of the companies that I built numerous locations was a women's clothing store. I bought a business that lost money 6 years. Everybody said, you're crazy. I was crazy. I didn't know a thing about retail, but I jumped in and bought that business at age 30 after I left the other business. It was a family business. It was a car rental business and a mini storage business. We were the first in Northwest Indiana to build mini storage business. And I really look at in my 20s, like what a gift I was given to buy into a business that was growing. And my father was not an entrepreneur before this. This was his first entrepreneurial venture. And when he wanted to start mini storage, all the banks turned him down, Joe. They said, it's a fad. It's a fad. Now they're everywhere, all over, right? And so
they're still popping up everywhere.
everywhere. But we were one of the first, and it's like, I think what I learned from that was don't give up. When you believe in something, put a plan together and make it happen and do whatever it takes. So, the banks didn't give them all the money to do it. So I remember my dad and my brother were out there, pouring concrete and putting the doors on because we had a full waiting list because we didn't even have to advertise. We had people that were from our car rental business that heard about the storage units and we had people just waiting. So we filled them up. And so after we proved ourselves, of course, the bank said, yeah, we'll give you money to do another one. And then we sold those a few years later to a major company called Public Storage, which is all over the place now. That was my first $1 million sale before 30. And so when I got into the retail business, of course, I had money to buy a business and that's all I knew was that one business. So it was like, well, that'd be fun. I could just go buy nice clothes and I can dress really nice and have like regular hours and make women look great and feel good about themselves. I thought, what could be better than this? But I had no idea what I was doing. So I got a group of mentors that took me under their wing that had 15 to 30 years experience and taught me the business. And I went from 100,000 to 2.5 million within 2 years, first 2 years, because I just followed their lead, and I think that's key with everything, Joe. It's like, you got to find a mentor and follow their lead and pick a path. Like, what are you going to do with that? Right. And so I guess that made me want to be a mentor, and then so 15 years later, after building and selling retail stores, I got in the speaking business for the same reason I'm in it now, is because I wanted to help people be successful. Still the same reason, like want to help people be successful. And then 27 years later, I've been speaking, but over that time, I've had to brand myself and rebrand myself and just change it over and over again. I've had my website, debbieallen.com, since 1997. Can you imagine how many times that's changed? Because
people don't realize that that's the thing. Like, some people think that a website is a one and done. I'm like, guys, it can evolve. Like,
right, because you're evolving.
Yes, as you evolve, as you grow, as your business grows, like the website will change and evolve and time. In 1997, it wasn't the same. The technology wasn't the same.
Right. We didn't worry about Google searches then. There wasn't very many people on, right? Then it was like the dark ages, right? And so, as my expertise evolved, my brand kept shifting. When I started out as a speaker, I positioned myself as a speaker that would speak on marketing. And back then, marketing was not enough. Like, I'll be a marketing expert. But now, with so many people in the industries, you got to tighten up your brand. You got to pick a lane. And so I picked the lane of marketing, and then retail was my niche market. So because that's where I came from. So I launched very quickly because I went into an area where I spoke their language, and every word on my website, every part of my branding and my messaging spoke to that market. And then when the financial crisis hit in 2008, my paid speaking career was like pretty much over because there was no business. And I was one of the highest paid women speakers in the world. I had reached that pinnacle, Joe. And then it's like the pinnacle got knocked out underneath me because there's no business, kind of like what happened in the pandemic. And it was 5 years, kind of the same way. We're just now coming back to live events after the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so I went international, and then I had to rebrand again. What am I now? I'm a business and brand strategist, and I'm now more of a coach and a consultant than I am a speaker, making money that way. So you always should be, if you're growing in your business, your brand is always developing. And so you introduced me as the world's #1 authority on expert positioning. 15 years I've been speaking on that topic. Wrote the book on it. Guys, hang on, because I'm going to give you the free book, opportunity, some other goodies at the end of this. But, been there, done that, wrote the book. But then I realized last year, I'm like, I'm kind of done teaching that. Even though I teach it, yes, I'm going to be teaching that. But really, somebody asked me this question. I'm going to ask you this question, Joe, and your listeners here. This was a shift for me last year, because some of you are listening right now and you're going, I need a shift. I need a change. I'm not making enough money. I'm tired of doing this way. I don't know what direction. Like, we've all been there.
Were you
And that's where I
listening
was at.
in my kitchen this morning?
Yeah, you're like, really?
Conversation I was just having with my husband.
Yeah, like what is it? Somebody help me with my direction, right? So
Yeah.
somebody asked me, was also like a peer, and they said, what is your absolute brilliance? If you could only teach people your absolute brilliance, something you've done that very few people have ever done, that you've mastered at. And I go, instantly, I said, speaking to self from stage, not online. I can do that, but my brilliance, speaking to self from stage. I've been doing it for 20 years, hosting my own events. So I went from paid speaking to be a speaker that spoke on other people's stages and sold. And then I started hosting my own events and then selling multiple six figures in a weekend, because I got all my clients. I positioned myself with my brand, with the new brand, even with this, big money stages came to my mind. Big money stages, that make money from stages. Put on an event, made multiple six figures, and it's like relaunched a new part of my business. So even though I redid my website last year, I'm going to redo it, because this is what I love teaching. This is my true brilliance. And that's why I ask you that question. What is your true brilliance? And another reason, I wasn't thinking I was getting tired of helping people position themselves as an expert and finding that niche. And I'm brilliant at that too. But other people have been talking about being an expert. It's like now it's more general, like a lot more people are jumping on the bandwagon. So when that happens, I look about it. Well, it's a compliment. I've been doing that for 15 years, 2 books on that. The other part is like, maybe it's time for me to shift. And so, yeah, I think a brand is always evolving. And you've always got to be like, as an entrepreneur, I get bored with stuff, or I want to take people at a deeper level. You got to go back and you got to rework your branding, your messaging, so that it speaks to that ideal client. The other thing I said last year was I want really wealthy clients, to where they want my skills and they don't even bat an eye about the price point. And then multimillionaires started coming. I had no multimillionaire clients before that, and now I have numerous millionaire clients. Like that wasn't even the criteria. It was part of the manifestation, but it was mostly of like, I got real clear on what my brilliance was and how I could brand that with a really cool name like Big Money Stages. It just came to me. Like, and if you can't think of that yourself, you need somebody that's creative with marketing that can think of a brand name for you, where people go, oh, wow, that's a cool name. Tell me more about that. That sounds cool. I want that. Right.
Right.
And I think your branding can do that for you, that between your logo and name your business to your 5 to 15 words, your unique selling proposition is what outcomes do you deliver? What brilliance can you deliver to other people? And you have to define that in 5 to 15 words. That is really your true brand, where people go, "That's cool. Tell me more about that."
So when you say brand and I say brand, we're saying the same thing. And I absolutely love that. And I find that sometimes whenever I found for a little while there, and branding is another one of those, it didn't used to be, but now everyone's something in branding and all of those pieces. But it's like, it's so much more than your logo, and it is so much more than your colors. And your website should be a reflection of what your brand is, but it is through your messaging and it is being clear. And I just had a client come to me the other day and she's like, I want to do a brand website design. I don't want to touch my copy. I was like, okay, well, is it working? Is it connecting? Is it converting? She's like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, then we need to touch your copy. Because, this is where it's not just, it can't just be pretty. Like, you want it to be pretty, but you also want it to speak to your person. So I think it's amazing that you're talking about finding what are you really good at, and then using the message, using the words, using your unique selling proposition. But it's everything about the brand, but it all comes down to you. Your brand keeps evolving because you keep evolving. And then
Right.
you're pivoting and you're changing. And it sounds like you're ahead of the curve a lot. And then I love how
Right.
you said you get bored, because I think that's something that, like, entrepreneurs, I find that many of us are multi-passionate. And then I have been accused of not learning how to settle. Like, it's the Joe, you're doing what now? And I'm like, well, for me, some of it is boredom, but it's a heart of service. It's like, how can I take what I'm good at or the relationships I have made and serve my clients better? What started out just as photography has now morphed into, we added on video because times change. When I first started in brand photography, we
Yep.
didn't have as much video and all of the things, and now we do. So then
It's everything.
my brand morphed to be able to offer video, because my clients, I'm like, if you're already getting your hair and makeup done, we're sourcing the locations, we've got your outfits, we've got your stories, then you need the photos, but you also need the videos to match. So let's just do it together. And then
Exactly.
morphing into now a full service agency, because to be quite honest, if I'm being real, I got so sick and tired of watching my clients have all of these amazing visuals sit on their computer. And I'm like, where are your photos? Where are your
Yeah.
videos? Do you not like them? No, love them. They're referring clients to me, raving about the experience, but they didn't have the time or the knowledge or the know-how to get it out into the world. And so now the full service agency came about, because I'm like, guys, I want to help. I want to have your branding is only as good as the people who can see it. So you can have an amazing website. You can be the world's best kept secret, and you will continue to be a secret if you can't get it out and get out into the world.
Yeah. So what you did is you were doing a piece of it and you got frustrated because you knew there was more that
Yeah.
frustrated you, and then so you saw the problem. Now I did all this stuff for them and they paid me for it, but now I'm frustrated because they didn't use it. So that means they need help, right? So you started paying attention, and that was me too. If I could listen to what my clients need instead of us trying to figure it out. And I think the only thing with the boredom that came out of me doing expert positioning is I have a done for you with you program. So we would do all the brand package and then build out the website, and I still do that for some clients that are starting out. But it would be like they'd be stuck on the color of their logo or something. I'd be like, that part bores me. Like, I go, hey, somebody's not going to decide to give you money or not because they didn't like the shade of the purple you put on your logo. Like, let's go. We got to get these things done. So I
No,
know
for
those are
sure.
part of the pieces, but I want to, like, let's go make money. Let's get to the strategy piece. That's what I like. That's, you can always tweak those things, but you got to get going.
Yeah. I'm like, you got it. And it's getting stuck. So sometimes I have lived by the mantra, done is better than perfect, because I spent so much time
Yep.
in the beginning trying to make sure that everything was perfect. Every I is dotted, every T is crossed. And then I realized I don't like it. I don't want to do that anymore, or I'm pivoting and I have to do it again. And so now I'm like, guys, the world is waiting. Just get out there, and then you can realign, you can pivot, you can decide. Because sometimes we have an idea, we think we know what we want to do, and then we get out there, we start talking to our clients, and then we realize they need something different, or what we thought we wanted to do isn't really what lights us up. So, like for you, you're like, I want to help all of it. And then you realized, gosh, this logo stuff is driving me crazy. I don't want to do
Yeah.
this anymore. I just want to come in on this side. So you pivot and you shift and you change. And I think that's amazing. So tell
Yeah,
me
so,
more
so
about
a
this.
lot of times when clients want to just a shift, they'll do a virtual VIP day with me, which isn't just a virtual VIP day. It's like a 30-day program, like, because they have email access to me and stuff. And so then I'll work on all the details, like their coaching programs and their direction and their speaking topics and whatever they need to do, right? I get all those pieces done. That's the nuggets, that's the strategy. And then I go, okay, here's my graphic guy. Throw him $150 because it's like he's in the Philippines. I don't give them to anybody but my personal clients. Here's my graphic guy. Here's my web guy. I'm going to get you all ready for all this stuff. And then you handle that project. And I like that better because I'm not having to handle the project and look at all these little crazy things. But, with a VIP client, I do it for them because I just want to get it done and get them moving on. But if somebody does a 30-day program, at least I give them the people so they don't have to say, oh my gosh, now I need a logo. I got to go to Fiverr and get one. And then I
Well,
got to
now
go
you
to,
have a new person you can give people to. You can kick them my way. I'll be more than happy to take
yeah,
care of
exactly. I'll
them.
send them to you, and yeah, we could get all that stuff done for them, right?
Well, and
Because
I
here's
think
the
that's
thing: is you can't be perfectionists, and even taking on a client that is not coachable, that says, "Hey, I want you to change everything but my content." Well, it's not working. Well, you're not coachable. You're ready to change or not? They're holding on to whatever reasoning, but you can't help them if they aren't coachable. And it's like, this isn't going to work unless you allow me. You got to trust me. You know me, like me, trust me. Trust me. You're giving me money. Let me do what I need to do and make it work for you. And then you'll prove it for you that it's going to work once we make this change.
you have to
But
be open to the
you got to
feedback.
be open. And the perfectionism thing, I don't know, it comes from, it just holds you back. I mean, perfection is a killer for success. I mean, it's a killer because you spend so much time on those little details when the big picture is right there. And I've got a client like that now. She's got a lot of money. So she throws a lot of money into all the detail stuff, this event that she wants to do. And it's like, we're coming down to 4 months now. You got to be filling the seats. Like, it don't matter how great your ideas are and how fabulous these little things are. Oh, I want to do this. And I'm like, you need to fill the seats or you don't have an event. And so, like, sometimes those little details that they get hung up on stops them from being successful because they're not looking at the big picture and the goal to get to the big picture, doing the things that get them there. All the little things are just keeping them playing small versus going right there.
Yes, I found more success now in, I like to say, putting the cart before the horse because I have to sometimes throw myself in. And I'm like, I'll figure out the details as I go. But if I give myself too much time on the front end, then it's like if I get caught up in what is my logo going to look like or what's the branding going to be? And even now with the podcast launch, it's like I'm holding myself back because I'm being nitpicky about my intro. And I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, people are going to listen to it and forget about it. They're going straight
Right.
into the conversation. So this was a nice reminder. Thank you. of,
And what do we love about the best podcast? You're just conversations, like behind the scenes. Tell me stories.
yeah.
Tell me, like just be real. And that's one of the things that people tell me. I just had a call with somebody that came to my event last month, and he goes, "You were so authentic and so real and almost casual." Like, yeah, I was having fun. Like, I know I was going to make sales. I knew I was giving great information. Like, I didn't have to get hung up about all that stuff. I've done the work, right? And that's where I like to get my clients is that they're that confident. They know the work, they've done it, trust the process, be yourself, and the right people are going to come on board. And it doesn't, you don't want everybody. And I even say, this is not for everybody. It's not for you if you're this, right? But it is for you if you want this and this and this.
I love that.
Yeah.
And owning that, because I think that's something that as entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning, and then I think even now, like as you grow and morph, there's still moments where it's like, what are my goals? What am I trying to get to? But then reminding yourself that you are not the solution for everybody, and everybody is not a good fit for you because there are
Right.
some clients that you may have said yes to at some point in your career, and you're like, that was the worst yes because that was so much more draining. They weren't coachable. No one's happy. You're not getting the success. They're not getting the success. They're driving you crazy. And so sometimes for me, I've really held on to this pace of every no is leaving room for the right yes. So if you keep
Exactly.
saying yes to the wrong people, it's going to take up your time, your energy, and then you're not going to be available to really pour into the right people that will
Right.
then refer more people and really just fulfill all of the
Like a,
pieces
like a
around your business.
snowball effect. It's just like you positioned yourself. So you're taking yourself and playing small. You're positioning yourself with your brand as an expert in a specific topic and a specific stay in the lane. This is what I'm an expert at, right? Stay in there, 100% focused. If you want to switch later, that's fine. But right now we're going all in this way, right? And then people get to know you for that specific thing. People kept calling me the expert of experts because I'm helping people become experts. But basically, I coined myself the world number one authority. I put it on the cover of my book. I mean, if you don't own it yourself, like who's going to believe it? Nobody. There's no, like a license that I had to have to say that. There's no award I had to win to say that. It's years, decades of experience that I can say that, right? But you got to be able to claim that. And again, the confidence of claiming that is my years of experience, the case studies, this success record that I have that can claim at. And it is my brilliance, and I have very almost of an intuitive sense to myself where people can tell me this is what I like to do and this is my goal, and I can help position them and get a business name and put all that stuff together to just like position them and then get speaking topics and coaching programs that fit that market. Like I've been doing that for so many years that it becomes almost intuitive to me. And so, yeah, you've got to say that everybody's got something that they're an expert at, that they can claim they can do it. And if you have to start out, you start out looking really good. You start out looking like you're the expert, and then fake it till you make it. If it has to be, do a beta program where you do a group class and then get a small group of people some success, and now you got some case studies from them, and then start from the next thing, because most all my clients start from ground zero, and they have to build from there. And then within a year they're making $100,000-$200,000 because now they're on stages and they know what to do, and they have a goal every single time they're going out, and how they're positioning themselves on that stage, how they're positioning their presentation, how they're positioning the audience. Everything is how you position it to reach whatever that goal is.
And that's the piece that I feel like a lot of people struggle with. Like it's coming off so second nature to you and it's so intuitive to you because this is your area of expertise. But for someone who's listening and they're like, cool, it's so easy for you to say we're all an expert in something. Do you have some guidance, like a couple quick check-in tips that someone could use to really, because I think sometimes we're too close to our own zone of genius to really know what that is. So do you have some tips?
Yeah, I'll give you an example of my new partner program. I mean, somebody said to me, why don't you have $100,000 offer? I'm like, I wouldn't even know what to put in $100,000 offer, right? Because I had a 25 and a 10. And then they said, well, with all your years of expertise, you should have $100,000 offer. I said, yeah, I should. And then I thought, well, what would people really want that's worth that? I mean, because if you're investing in a business, like a franchise, even $100,000 franchise is on the low end, right? So you're going to invest money in a business. What would launch a speaker? Would be, I could get you on stages. I could travel with you and perfect your presentation to get you masterful. I could teach you how to speak and sell from every single stage that you're on. I could be at your own live event, tell you how to do it, build that whole thing out for you, and be there and even help you sell. Like you're pretty much guaranteed that $100,000 investment would probably get you 200,000 or more. You keep all the money, right? So when I put it together like that, I'm like, oh, now it's a no-brainer. So I called it what I call a throw-out offer. And so I threw it out at my event. I put people through an exercise and saying, okay, if you had to have a coaching program, you have to have a minimum of 5,000, because if you're an expert, you should have a $5,000 minimum program. And then so I went through the exercise. Let's close your eyes. Think about a number. Where are you comfortable with money coming into you? And I put them through this whole beautiful exercise. And then I started teaching a little bit more. And then I told my story about somebody saying, why don't you have a $100,000 offer? And then I went, that's crazy. And I instantly in my head cut it in half. Like, I don't understand the value. I don't even understand. Just cut it in half. It was just a number. It's just a number, right? But we're stuck on a number, just like we're stuck with, our thinking. And so it's just opening up your thinking. And so I did it. I said, I threw out the offer. I had no PowerPoint, 5 minutes. If you want to do it, it's not for everybody. It's a partner program. I have to select you. And I'm only going to take one person a year that partners with me on this. 4 people ran to the back of the room instantly. I wasn't even done speaking yet. I'm like, this is crazy. Because it was just like, and everybody kept saying, oh, that was so masterful how you did that. I'm like, well, I can't wait to hear the recording, because I knew what I was going to say, but it was just me being authentic. Like, who wants to really go big and launch this, right? And then I of course, I picked a client that had already gave me money to work with them. And then they wanted to give me more money because they saw the value of that. And then another client has been working with me for 10 years. I said, you don't even really need that. You're making great money. No, but I could see the value. Like, I can go take it even more. Like, yeah, I want that. I'm like, oh my God, what did I create here? I had no idea. So it was just such, I didn't have to perfect it, Joe. I didn't have to overthink it. I just went, what would be the ultimate? And I just want all of you that are listening here, what would be the ultimate somebody, if they could have personal time with you and work with you, that you could give to them? Because this is almost like, it's almost like 6 VIP days. Like I'm traveling with her every other month, right? And the person I picked is already a client, so I know what it's like working with her. And I mean, we're like friends. Like I get to hang out with a girlfriend. Like, I mean, I'm so fortunate to have her person as a client, and she can't wait to pay me. Yeah, she's like, "Do you want to pay you all in full?" I'm like, "I'm not going to even do this with you until next year." I said, "Just give me 10 grand. That's fine." She's like, "Okay, here." I mean, that's the thing of manifesting like a higher level client, of going like, how can you take years of something and then share it? So some of you are listening here going, yeah, I have years that I haven't monetized from. Or you may be thinking like Shannon, my client, that is my partner program client now. She's only been on stage with a TED talk. And so you think, well, how could she go out and make that kind of money? She's never even really done speaking. She didn't have any, she doesn't have a full presentation put together. She only has a TED talk telling her story, which went through alcoholism. It's a tough story, right? We got to turn that into a speech. And then how do I monetize from that with coaching and mentoring? And then how do I put on an event like that where I can teach people? So it doesn't matter if it's mindset, business, whatever it is. All she started with was a story. She had a brand, Cutting Edge Transformation, the name of her business. I liked the brand. We kept that. But really, she had no clients. She had nothing going. But because what I was going to teach her is how to use speaking to go get the clients. And so, a year from now, she will be on multiple stages, have many, many clients, probably have raised her price 3 times because she's fast track. She's got somebody has years of experience that can push her faster. So when you can do that for a client, and again, she doesn't have that expertise yet, but we're positioning her like she does. She's had the photo shoot. She's got the video. She's got all the pieces. So when she launches, here's how she's going to launch. She's going to have to pay for stage time. So part of in the program, I'm going to pay to get her on some stages, but I'm going to be there and make sure she does the best job she can. So getting paid to be on stages is a lot of times how experts start is they will pay to get 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour from stage. And then from there they can get clients and then, monetize on that end.
It catapults from there.
Yeah. So it, how does she start? She started with a story, and that story will turn into multiple 6-figure business within a year because of somebody that says, let's take that story now and help people with that. And I put together the programs. And that's kind of how, everybody's got to start somewhere. But you know what? She didn't just start now. She's not totally at ground zero because she's done 6 years of personal development work. She has invested in coaches. She's probably invested $200,000 or $300,000 in personal development coaches and rehab and everything else, easily. And so she's walks her talk. She's done the work. She's made major shifts in her life. So when somebody hears her story and then she ties in the teaching points, you go, wow. I mean, one, you think she's a hero, Shiro. And the other part is she's so real and so authentic and vulnerable, like you love her, right? And then you think she's done all this work. She's somebody who can help me because she, in the teaching point, hit my pain points. And now I trust that she can help me. So they run to the back of the room and go, God, I want to do a call with you,
I want to work with you. And I think sometimes getting out of our own way,
Yeah.
that we're too afraid and who am I? Because I don't have all of this experience yet. And you do have experience. You just have to ask yourself, what is it? For me, it's like, ask yourself, what is it that comes so second nature? And I was in the car the other day with my sister. She's a nurse practitioner. And we were talking about injections with something that we were doing. And she's like, I said something about how hard it was to draw an exact amount. And I was like, I'm so confused because I can never get it to come out. She's like, well, you just have to push how much air in first that you're going to take out. And I said, excuse me? She's like, you push the air in first. And I went, I know what? I'm sorry. Take that back. And then we started talking about and she's like, oh, it's so second nature to me. I picked that up somewhere. And now I know like the back of my head, this is what you do. And I said, that's awesome. That's second nature to you. But for the rest of us in this world who do not draw and, give medications and all that stuff. It's not second nature. So it's simple things like that, like the stuff that to you, you're like, you just figure out your zone of genius, and then we get out there, we tell the story, and then we monetize it. But I'm listening to you going, I
Cliff
mean, if
Notes
I were that
version.
simple, I would have already figured out how to do some of this on my own. But I think the key that I'm loving you here is this message of mentorship. So many of us think that we have to do it on our own. And I
No,
have
you
been
can't.
blown away by the stories. And like, there's some big name brands out there that I have followed. And then the more that I start to learn about them, I realize they had a mentor.
Hmm.
They didn't start without help. And so you have established this amazing empire. You've had a lot of success. But when you went into something new, you said, I got mentors. I went
Always. Still
and I was
do.
like,
Still
hey,
to
I'm
this
going to
day.
walk into this space. I have no idea what to do. Let me go speak to someone who's paved the way ahead of me. And then that's what
Exactly.
you're doing now.
That's
But
it, Joe. Exactly. And everything you want to learn, like from whether it's retail business, whether it's speaking business, whether it's coaching business, it's like who is already walked the talk, been there, and not only knows it, but knows how to transfer their knowledge onto you, has a system or a process that works. Because you can have conversations with people and go, oh, just go do this and go do that. And you have to like you said, you got to get stuff done for people because you have those people that take too long. And I'm an action taker, so I'm like, let me just do that for you. Like, we got to get that done to get this right.
right.
So there's pieces of the program it's done for you, so that I don't have people slugging around. We got to get to the other part, but yeah, I mean, anybody can come to me and say this is my goal. Like I had people, they apply to have calls with me all the time, and I say yes or I say no. And I had one this morning. And I went to her website and it was all quantum physics stuff and way too woo woo. And I'm like, no, I don't even know how to have a conversation with that person. I'm not the right person for you. So it's easy to say, sorry, I can't accept that. So, I'm very open about that. Even when I do a webinar or do an offer for a podcast or something like that. And I say, yeah, you can apply to a call with me, but you might get turned down because I don't think you're the right fit, or maybe I don't even have a timing to fit you in for what you're looking for. But, there I, and I think that knowledge and that experience and the confidence comes from just decades of being in business, to where I'm very solution oriented. So if I get somebody that is just too afraid to take action, or they're just not action takers, or they're doubting themselves so much, I can't work with them. You got to go work with somebody that clears this mind up stuff. That's not me. Go get this cleaned up first, and then when you work with me, we're going to just go. We're going to do it.
Eliminate all your limiting beliefs first and then come talk to me.
Exactly.
Well, and I just goals, right? Like that we can all get to the place that we can have people applying to have conversations and then being in a place to confidently say, yes, I can help you, or no, I can't. And I think that's something that it comes with time,
Yeah.
but then really leaning back into that, the right yeses and the wrong nos. Cause I mean, man, that's been a time and tested thing. And then you're able to pour all of your energy into the people that you can actually help. Cause quantum
Exactly.
physics, not up your lane. Got it now.
Right, and then the success record is massive, like, way over 90%. Like, the return on investment, and because I pick in the right people, right? I would rather say if somebody needs mindset stuff or whatever, I'd say, you're not ready for me yet, but go work on that. Maybe I've got a referral. I'll send you one of my clients or whatever that I think you could work with first. Because again, what will happen, and here's another reason, Joe, that I got, wasn't all just confidence. It was like 20 some years in business and then get a lawsuit from somebody. Um, and I had to hire this really expensive lawyer out of Santa Barbara because I didn't have a right thing in my agreement that says, if somebody takes you to court. I had an event in California, so I had to go get a California lawyer. Of course, I've changed all that. So here's the person. She comes in. She's beautiful. She's got a 6-figure job. She seems really young and exciting, and I worked with her for 5 months, and I could tell my intuition. I mean, I knew it. She kept putting the brakes on. She kept making excuses. I'm so busy. I can't make this call. Let me move it out. Right. And then we got to the end where we're really launching her expertise. Right. The website's going to come and it's going to get launched. And she says, and this 5 months into it, she says, well, I didn't tell you before, but I have imposter syndrome. And I'm like, whoa. Like, back then, I didn't even know what it was. Like, I go look it up. Like, she's telling me this. I'm looking it up online, like, what is this, a disease? Right? You can say you have anything, and I don't believe in it, but I believe that you believe it. And if you believe it, you're going to sabotage every opportunity to put yourself out there because it's
Sure.
getting close. Now she's going to sabotage it. Right. I didn't know that. So as much as she would sabotage or put the brakes on, I just kept getting harder. I'm like going, well, come on out, spend the day with me. Let's do our VIP day now and stay at my guest house. And let's just, let me get to know you better. And like I kept trying to fix it, Joe. I couldn't fix her because she was too stuck already. And, she came from a referral. So, I thought, hey, I would have probably said yes again to that person. But here's where I didn't pay attention to my intuition. When she kept putting the brakes on, I probably should have just let her go then and said, you just seem to keep putting so many brakes. Maybe we just need to cut this off and I'll just refund you the difference. And we would have just left. So it was a $20,000 program at that time she'd invested in. And she hires a lawyer versus, because it said in there, no refunds, right? And she hires a lawyer to sue me for 30,000 for damages or something.
What?
It was like so freaking ridiculous. I'm like, couldn't we just have a conversation? I'm willing to give her some money back, even though my contract said that. She didn't want to have a conversation with me. She just wanted to, I don't know, win. I don't know what it was. So 2 freaking years we wasted, and nobody made money except the lawyers. Like nobody got any more money. It was just like it was crazy. So the money I would have paid her, I had to pay the lawyer, and nobody won. So that made me tighten up my rules. Like I really have to get to know. I mean, I haven't met her in person, so I kind of tightened up where I have to meet people to get to know them, or I'll start with a smaller program and work with them instead of going right into a full year program. Especially if I had any doubts. You really get to know somebody when they start telling you everything about their life. And this recently happened with another client. I mean, she's signed up for a $25,000 program with me. I had a conversation with her at my event, and she was like circle talking.
Oh, geez.
You ever had that where you're trying to dig in there? Like, wait. Oh, then there's another thing. Like, just like, and I'm like, okay, well, she's just like she's got a tough day. Let's have a conversation after. So I had another conversation with her after. And yeah, she's going through a lot of stuff in her life and her family and everything. And so she just kept spiraling again. And I'm like, I look at the page. And Joe, really, it was like I was writing down this side and I wrote down like this side and up this side. I'm like, and I looked at it, I'm like, I still don't know what she wants. I
Oh my
still
gosh.
don't get
After
her.
all that time, like okay.
And so I just said, I know you want to come into the program. I know you want to do it, but it looks like you got to clear up all that stuff you got going on. Like, I don't need to hear about your life. Like, I do get friendly with my clients, but I don't want you coming with all these. There's just excuses, right? Like I can't help you if you're holding on to that stuff. So I said, let me just put you out. I just put her out to like fall, and hopefully that we'll have a better conversation. Because if she's still like this, when I talk to her next time, I'm just going to go, you're not focused.
Well, it
And
sounds like you're very clear on they have to be clear. And you really
yeah,
do need to have clarity on where you want to go or be open to receiving the feedback, but it's that action taking. Because in order for you to help them move the needle, they have to be ready to be like, yep, 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 make a decision, moving forward, make a decision, move forward. Like not getting stuck in, this is what I think I want to do. And then not the hamster wheel. It's like, you got
but
to
you've
get
been
off the
doing
hamster.
that. You've been doing the hamster wheel for years. How's that working for you? Probably not very good, right?
I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, you can't quite say it that way, but I mean, I don't think you're doing people disservice by taking their money by any means. And I mean, I even had another speaker at my event that was blown away when I turned somebody down on stage, and they go, "I've never seen anybody do that." Because especially when people are making an offer, they want to close you, right? And this gal came up and she was doing this too, and I would just go, "Ooh, stop!" Like I'm trying to help her with a problem, and she's going, and then I did this, and then I'm like, oh. I was getting a headache. And then I just said, stop. I said, you don't have focus. You're all over. I said, you're talking about all these things, but what do you want? What do you want? What is your goal? Like she couldn't answer that question. What do you want? Where do you want to be 1 year from now? What do you want to do? And then she's like, well, I want to do this. And she got into all this. It was quantum physics stuff again. Crazy. It's getting all out there. And then she goes, but I don't think I have this gift. And I don't think it's fair to charge people for it. I'm like, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean? You've been given a gift. I don't even care if you're a healer. I've worked with 3 generation healers. They don't even have to even get with people and they can heal people, right? On Zoom calls. They're gifted, right? And And so I said, you're in front of the entire audience. I said, I can't work with you. I said, but how many of you are life coaches in here that can work through what she's just talking about? She's not focused. And then like 10 people raised their hand. And I looked and I went, that's your person. And go talk to them. And that I just didn't even think about it. And it was actually somebody, I didn't pick them because they were a client, but I knew that person really well and their story. And they had a conversation and they had the same story. The same stuff happened to them in their personal life. And it was like, it was perfect. Like that person can help you. I can't help you.
That's amazing.
But again, that's when I come back to that original conversation. Pick a lane, stay in your lane. Don't just take a client to take a client. When you are an expert at something, you are confident on that lane and you know you can help them. So the right people will come in. And if you took the wrong people, you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get burned out when you're coaching people, you're going to think, oh, I don't want to do this. It's not that you don't want to do this. You picked the wrong people.
That right there, that is everything. And I was realizing, because now I can reflect back on certain clients, and there's days where I feel like I'm questioning, like, what am I doing? And then I'm like, oh, wait, when I was doing it for this client and this client and this client, they light me up. And it was so fun. And I loved every second of it. And then I'm allowing the wrong client to drain and impact my perception on it. It's like, no, it's just the wrong client. It's not a reflection on you. I just said yes to the wrong client. Or I love how you said you ignored your intuition. That's the piece. I think that's a takeaway too for me, where I'm like, okay, when you start to see the warning signs, just cut the cord early, because if they're already showing you they're not willing to commit and they're not willing to follow up on deadlines and they're not willing to give you the information that you need, I'm not here to babysit anyone. I want to be able to help you. I want to be your partner. I want to help you with growth, but like, I also can't be holding your hand. Like if I need something from you, you need to take action and be able to move forward. So I love that. Listening to your intuition. And I think it kind of comes back to when people show you who they are, believe them.
Yeah, there you go. Really.
So
they do. They keep showing you and you're like ignoring it. No, but I want them to be something else.
Yes.
No, but they're not. It's
like,
so
I
true.
want to see something beyond what's there. And or just what you said too, like maybe it's just not the right time. You have some things that you need to get into place first, and then we can circle back. And then
sometimes it's not the right timing. That's okay. And sometimes I believe in my clients more than they believe in themselves because they don't see what's possible. But when I have a client, like I have a gentleman now, he was in a plane crash, and then he started his whole speaking career out of this. He obviously lived through the plane crash. It was the movie Scully, where the plane crashed in the Hudson. He helped everybody off board, and then he got all this media attention, and then he got a speaking business. And now he wants to learn the speaking to sell stuff because he's like on the road all the time. And he goes, Deb, I don't know what I don't know. You tell me what I need to do. I'm like, love you. That's your perfect client. They trust you and they trust your expertise. They trust your brand, your direction, everything that you're doing. That's your ideal client. When you got somebody like that, I don't know what I don't know.
And this is why I align with you between and that's the power of the branding piece that you have been able to hone in on. When people come to you, those are your ideal clients, but you've already established the fact that you have guidance, that you can give them information, and that you can help them get to their end goal. So I think it's awesome. I'm hearing you talk about, my one question is, where do you want to go? What is your goal? And then I can know whether or not I can help you get there. So you're very clear on who you are, what you offer, what you can do. And it sounds like you're also very clear on the kind of person and where they need to be at in their journey to be able to help them get there. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And even with Dave, I've been the road warrior before on the road. So I've been there. I've walked the talk with him, and I've had to learn to speak and sell and put my own events on and everything. So even to brand his event, I had to have a conversation with him. And I'm like, okay. And then this happened and this happened and this happened. So he has like 4 pivotal points in his life. They were shifts. And I think that, the whole thing he was telling me, I'm like, okay, what you're saying, it's almost like scale to success. Like you took an idea and then you shifted your business and your brand and your direction, and then you scaled that to success. And then you had to shift again. And then because he has like 4 pivotal points in his life where he shifted and he scaled. And so Scale to Success Summit is what I called it. And we got the domain and we started building the brand around that. And his whole presentation for 2 or 3 days at an event, the teaching points will come around the 4 pivotal points. So he'll have a story that weaves in so you can relate is a lot of people don't remember the lesson, but they'll remember the story that goes with the lesson.
Right. I love that. So what's coming up in the future for you, Debbie? You've got 2025 is almost, we're halfway through. So where is Debbie Allen going in 2025 into 2026?
Well, I just came off my live event, Big Money Stages, and I got a lot of fabulous new clients. So I'm pretty busy with that, which is nice to be able to say no to more things. You have a speaking engagement next week in California, and I'm like, what am I offering? Do I even have a spot to work with somebody? But I do. I mean, there's some, I definitely want to create those opportunities. I love, being on stage and being able to help people achieve their goals. But I think for me, I love the speaking to sell piece. I'm kind of moving more away from the expert positioning and going more into speaking to sell because one, when I'm teaching somebody a skill that they can quickly see ROI, it's pretty easy to sell. And plus it really positions me as the legacy that I want to leave. And so my goal going forward is getting those ideal clients that are now taking my place. That I'm 72. I don't know how many more years of stage I've got but I just saw, was it Rod Stewart, 80 years old, still doing his concert. I'm like, I got a few more years of stage time left in me, but I'm already planning that, my legacy is not just going to be a book. It's going to be people that will continue in this business, telling their story, inspiring people, and then taking them with their skill set to another level. I mean, that's what excites me now is,
That just gave me chills. The legacy that you want to leave. I
yeah.
think that's amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
Debbie, if
I
they've
get
been
more
listening,
excited for them getting bookings on stage. Like I used to get excited, like now I get them on stages and I get real excited that they're going to be on that stage and they're going to get those opportunities. And yeah, it's just like a full circle. It kind of where it started even, and
that's what you can
what a
tell it's
gift.
authentic. Like I think that's for me when you can truly be more excited about someone's success than maybe even they are. And I think like I say that about my own clients. I'm like, guys,
Mhm.
like I genuinely get giddy, like a kid in a candy store when I see you being successful because you've taken and implemented your branding. Like I love it. And I literally am like dancing. If I'm in person, I will hug you and dance with you. And if I'm watching it from the sideline. So I think it's so amazing that you've got that same spirit because you're like, yeah, of course, my success is great, but it truly comes through that you are more excited about your clients being successful, which is probably what drives your desire to work with people who want to be successful. Because you're like, no, I really need to see you succeed. Like that is really what I want for you. So you
Yeah.
have to be able to get out of your own way so I can help you.
When I think that's really what, the whole, being an influencer, being an expert, being a speaker, being a coach, isn't that what we got in this business for? We had to go through some shit in our own life and then come out on the other side of that so that we could help other people. And why would you not really make great money? You should be rewarded very well for what you went through because you had to do the work. You had to go on the other side and you had to learn how to teach other people to do it. But I think that you were chosen. I mean, you're chosen to do what you do. But most of us are, again, those that are really stepping up as an influencer or an expert saying, I'm quit playing small. I want to go big. Um, again, I grew up in a little tiny town in Indiana, and most of those people there, they haven't been out of 3 states. I look at my life and go, I've been all over the world, spoken 28 countries, wrote 10 books, been on over 500 stages. And I pinch myself because I'm like, that's me? Are you talking about me? Because I did it always to help people. And that's how the opportunity, I think if you always come from a place of service, and you truly are still strategic, and know your value, you're going to be very successful.
I love that. Know your value and come from a heart of service. Like that's amazing. Well, Debbie, if they've been listening and they want to reach out, where can they find you?
Okay, first I want to leave you with some gifts. You're going to go to my landing page called expertpositioningsuccess.com. We'll put those in the show notes, expertpositioningsuccess.com. That's where you'll get a copy of my book, Expert Positioning. There's a 30-minute video in there as well that talks about how could you position yourself as an expert, come up with some ideas, and then how you can monetize from it. So I share 10 or 12 different ways you can monetize from it, from coaching to VIP days to masterminds, all kinds of different things. And then you'll get also a copy of the book there. So that's absolutely free for you. It's a $200 value, expertpositioningsuccess.com. You want to learn more about me, follow me on my schedule, go to some of my live trainings or my online classes, go to debbieallen.com. and then you'll find everything there. So thanks so much for letting me share that, Joe.
Oh, of course. It was a pleasure. I really appreciate your time today, Debbie. So much amazing opportunities and expertise that you were sharing. And even though you're shifting from the number one world's authority on expert positioning into big money stages, is that what it was?
Yeah, number one, speaking to sell from stage expert in the world. There's a few out there, but my claim is to be one of the world's number one in that as well. I've already reached the other. It's almost like another thing I want to achieve, right? I still do both to help people, because some people came to me and wanted to buy my program for speaking to sell, and I said, well, you're not even positioned yet. So I had to sell them a program for them to position themselves first. So that's the first year: position yourself, get the brand built, and everything else. Then the next year you learn the speaking to sell and all of that. So it just kind of weaves into that. So Joe, I'm glad I can help you and your listeners, and thanks for being so open and sharing the opportunity with not only me, with also your listeners out there. Wish
Wow,
you
it's
well.
absolutely a pleasure. And if you've been listening and you know somebody else who would benefit from this show, please be sure to share. We would love to hear any feedback on the takeaways that you really liked from today, and any episodes maybe we can share in the future. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. And as always, continue to make a bold impact. That's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Branded Impact Podcast. If today's episode sparked something in you, please take a second to subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a friend who's ready to unlock their rebrand era. And if you're ready for a brand that's rooted in authenticity and built for impact, one that truly reflects your story, your energy, and your evolution, let's connect. Head to brandingbyjoe.com or DM me on Instagram at brandingbyjoe. Thanks for hanging out. Now get out there, show up with purpose, and make your branded impact. I'll see you next week.